It's all good. I'll use my phone so I'm not awkwardly saying next slide.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're ready. All right. Hey guys, thank you and welcome to the Better Than Success podcast. My name is Maikia Muhammad, also known as Mickey. I'm Mickey Mansions on Instagram and all the socials. I'm here with Julia Chosed. This is another BTS executive and real estate investor. So, to give you a little bit of background on me, I am a real estate investor as well as a sales agent here in Pennsylvania. And I'm going to read Julia's bio so we can learn a little bit more about her. Julia has many hats. She's a real estate developer, investor, designer, and consultant. She's the founder of Brick House Builders, a real estate development company that focuses on investing in Philadelphia's Strawberry Mansion neighborhood. Throughout her successful career in real estate, Julia has flipped, rented, wholesale, designed, and GC'd other investors' projects until she ultimately found that her passion lies in design and mentorship. So excited to talk to Julia today. As you know, we're talking about defining our why and real estate strategies aligned with that. Can't wait. Before we get into that, though, we have a few announcements. On October 8th, we're having the networking and resource sharing event at the Better Than Success Studios. That's going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. And the address on that is 2930 Jasper Street, Studio 103 in Philadelphia. If you're in Philly, definitely make sure you are in attendance with that. Also, we have the brand new real estate AI mentor assessment on the betterthansuccess.com website. Very excited for that. If you want to know where you should start in real estate, this is the perfect place to start. Once you do the assessment, you'll be tapped within 21 archetypes, and from there you'll have a 4-page report on exactly where you should start your real estate journey. Very, very cool. No other real estate anything is doing that. So excited. All right. Right now, the AI mentor is only available for BTS members. If you would like to be a BTS member, we have a special sale going on for $1. If you use code Julia or Mickey at checkout, you can sign up for $1 and then it's $197 a month. Definitely take advantage of this. It won't be here for long. So if you want to get access to that mentor as well as all the other awesome resources of BTS, definitely make sure you sign up. And to give you some background on what we do every week, on Mondays and Fridays, we have group coaching and accountability calls. Mondays, there is the real estate news briefing right here on YouTube Live. Those are super informative. I highly recommend everyone tune in to learn about what's going on in the market right now with real estate. As you know, it's very much changing. So we want to stay on top of all the news that's going on. On Tuesdays, we do deal analysis lab and tutoring. That's where you can learn how to analyze deals and make sure you're strategic in how you are choosing your real estate strategies and making sure that you are analyzing your deals appropriately. And on Wednesdays, we have our real estate mastermind where we have guests come in and share resources for real estate, very broad topics. So much value everywhere throughout the week. And then Saturdays, we do workshops and trainings and in-person events. And I want Julia to share a really cool feature that her and Nicole are working on with construction management. So Julia, please tell us about how cool your construction management course is.
Super cool. Thanks so much for introducing me and having me here. It's really awesome to be on the other side of the podcast today. But yeah, me and Nicole a few years ago started doing the comprehensive construction management course through Better Than Success. So this course is to help new investors or seasoned investors really master the project management renovation side of real estate investing. So this is half the formula for being a successful real estate investor. Whether you want to be a GC or not, these are all really important things that you need to know to help get your renovation projects from start to finish. So the class is going to be this November and December. It's a 4-week class. And you can find out more at betterthansuccess.com/CM. And we have a payment plan option. We're doing an early bird special and exclusive discount for BTS members as well. So that's what we got going on.
So exciting. I highly, highly recommend this course. I actually was in your very first one.
Yes, I remember.
And I still go back to the slides and getting that, all the resources on where to start, what to do next when you're in a construction project is totally invaluable. So, all right, we're going to get into our topic for today, which is defining your why and aligning your real estate strategies with your why. So, we always hear about why are you building wealth or why are you getting into real estate? So, Julia, I want to ask you, how would you describe your why?
My why, it's funny when I talk about this on the webinar that I do, if I were to put it in really short words, my why is that I'm lazy and I don't want to work. Like, that's really it. But there's so many more layers to that too. So, I want to travel. I'm a very creative person. I'm always trying to learn and do new things. And my history is workaholism, work multiple jobs, never have room for creativity, never have room for travel. And if I do, it's I need a vacation from my vacation.
Yeah.
And another big part is that I feel like a lot of people that have been examples of retirement for me didn't make it look desirable. A lot of people really struggled to retire or didn't make good financial decisions when they were young to be able to retire and enjoy life later. So that's a big part of my why. I don't want to be in that position. So I want to set myself up now. I really wanted to, retire by next year kind of thing. But I also when retirement comes, I want to be comfortable and not have to worry about decisions I made 10 years ago.
Yes, definitely. I really feel you on the not having the proper examples of what retirement can look like. When you want to choose to stop working, as a human, you're within that right to want to do that, So I'm definitely with you on the travel, the freedom, all of that.
Yes, financial freedom. That is
For sure. So, okay, with some real estate strategies, with wanting that freedom aspect, what would you recommend? Or I guess before we even get to that, if we have anyone here who wants to share in their chat what their whys are, that can help us with answering any questions as far as, where we can drive the conversation, that kind of thing. But okay, so with your why, how would you recommend that people use their resources, from wherever you are to get to where you want to go?
So I think first I want to kind of explain what my timeline has looked like and what that strategy, how that strategy played out. So I started investing in real estate with no money. So I had to be, the sweat equity for a long time. I had to go really hard into educating myself on real estate investing, real estate markets, connecting with contractors, other investors. I had to really spend a lot of my time. So I didn't have time freedom at first, but I had to build capital. So that was just part of the strategy. I needed to build the capital to then invest in rental properties that would provide the passive income. So, it was a journey. I had reverse engineered my goal, and I told myself I needed 5 years of actively investing. So this is flipping properties. This is burring. This is a lot of sweat equity to be able to build up that rental portfolio that provides that passive income. So that specific strategy, I'm a huge fan of the BRRRR method, but I think it's also important to remember that the BRRRR method it's a very hands-on real estate investing strategy. So even if you are, hiring GCs to renovate your property and you're not managing, it's still, there's a lot of letters for a reason. You're buying, you're renovating, you're renting, you're refi, and then at the end you get your capital back, you could do it again. But like all of those steps require attention and effort. So, for me, financial freedom is time freedom, location freedom, all of my expenses are covered. So there's different tiers of freedom. And I had to kind of like do them one at a time. And now I'm at the point where I've built my rental portfolio with other people's money. I've built my own capital. And now the strategy is totally different because now I don't have to do a lot of the things that I had to do at first, but it's short-term sacrifices, short-term hustle for long-term gain. Like I made sure to strategically not get caught up in the hustle for too long. I was like 5 years. I'm a hustle for 5 years and that's it.
Yes. I think this is why I was drawn to host with you on this podcast. I think we're both at that, what's the next step as far as not being exactly all the way in the business. So for some of my background, I have 5 rental units. I got into real estate via house hacking. So that is not the same as a burr in no way, because I'm living with my tenants. I'm living in a unit and then renting the others out. I was able to do that by leveraging my W-2. And I would definitely recommend, if someone is just wanting to get started in real estate and really immerse yourself in, real estate from where you can, then I would Okay, sorry, I didn't want to make sure you guys are getting any of that feedback, so I paused my talking. But if you want to, get started in real estate from where you are, house hacking is a really good way to do that. And like Julia was saying, it was really hands-on. Like I'm still managing the properties myself, so I'm working with doing all the admin that comes with being a property manager. I'm talking directly to the tenants. If there is a repair at 2 a.m, they're calling me. So one of the strategies I definitely wanted to mention today is the ability and the importance of outsourcing based on what your strengths are. So if you know that you don't really want to be that hands-on, you may not be quite the people person, or you can't tolerate stress so much, then consider outsourcing from the beginning versus waiting until you feel overwhelmed. And then we talked about this while we were preparing for the podcast. Just really leaning in on what you think your strengths and your weaknesses are, and making sure that you're making the decisions in your real estate investing that align with where you are. Like, you can see me and Julia, we may not look like the typical real estate investor, whatever that may mean. I consider myself a free spirit. I don't want to speak for Julia, but
we're soul sisters.
Soul sisters. For sure. So it's like anybody can truly get into real estate. Okay, so that is some background there. Another one I wanted to ask you when we're talking about strengths and weaknesses. What do you think your strengths and weaknesses are now for where you're trying to go?
Yes. All right. So it was really funny. We were talking about this the other day and getting so fired up. I was like, we have to save it for the podcast. A big thing that I had to accept about my personality and how I run my business is I'm very sensitive to stress. And I didn't like to, I want to be this like hard businesswoman, but like I like this, like being stressed feels like the plague. Like I avoid stress like at any cost because I'm so sensitive to it. So like, when something goes wrong, I know that like I might, without utilizing outside resources, like I can kind of go into panic mode pretty easily. And I'm also you know, it may not seem this way, but I'm an introvert, like to the core. And like, I need a lot of recharge and very minimal like social interactions. I'm like, so what that looks like is I have to outsource a lot of the peopling to people who are good at peopling. So I have, as soon as I could afford it, and it's really interesting because there's no right or wrong way to invest in real estate, and everyone has strategies that work for them. And I was listening to a podcast recently, and the host had said something along the lines of, you should never hire a property manager if you have under 30 units. I hired a property manager the second I could. And I don't have more than 30 units. But the value of being able to shut my phone off and know that if something goes wrong, I'm not the first call. It's like, that's invaluable to me. So I don't want to be the first line of contact for anything. I always say, I don't want my tenants to know my name. I don't want them to have my phone number. A lot of the administrative stuff, the tech stuff, I'm just not good at. So I outsource that. There's a lot of these systems that I learned over time that I had to, incorporate into my business, because at first I wanted to wear all the hats. And, yesterday on the podcast, we talked about burnout. And I also was very conservative because I wasn't investing any of my own money. It was all of my own time and knowledge and skills into these projects. So I didn't want to spend more money than I had to. So I was the expediter. I was the landlord. I was everything. And I just don't want to wear that many hats today. And, I've learned to it's best to manage the manager. And that is just for my personality and my goals, that's the way that it works best for me. It's I need a lot of systems in place, and, financial freedom to me is time freedom. So I really need to claim all the time, because that's what I'm investing in real estate for.
Yes. Oh, I love that. There's so many things you mentioned there. First of all, I want to commend you for doing the work of understanding yourself, because that's not an easy thing for people to do or even want to do. I started doing mindset meditations because I was getting caught up in that, oh, I should want to do this, or well, I know I'm in real estate. I know I'm not going to stop doing real estate, but how can I move past this block or whatever? So first of all, that's a major key right there, that you're even wanting to do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I love that.
Thank you. And what it made me think of is so many people don't know what their strengths and weaknesses are yet. And they also there's the world of real estate investing is just so vast, and there's so many different ways to invest, and there's all these things that you need to learn, and it's overwhelming. And part of Better Than Success is the eliminate overwhelm. And with the AI mentor, now you kind of can get this assessment done according to your personality and your goals. And it's listen, if you don't want to devote that much time, don't. There's a way to invest in real estate for everybody.
Yeah. What was your assessment, by the way? Did you do it?
I was the diplomatic,
decisive diplomat.
Yes.
I feel like that's the people you said systems, and you're on it. I was the fledgling executive, because I'm just no, I just want to chill.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, wherever you are, there's just so many different lanes and ways you can go about this. How they say, it's not just one way to skin a cat. That's a terrible saying.
I hate it, but I end up saying it all the time too in regards to investing in real estate. I'm we gotta come up with a better one.
For sure. For sure. So you said you like to manage the manager. And so that's hiring people who are doing the tasks that you don't want to do. What are some of the things you do like to do in real estate?
I love financial freedom and traveling. Now, I do really love interior design and construction. I do, I fell in love with construction on my very first flip. I didn't know that I would. I got my GC license right away, and I really wanted to know the ins and outs of construction. I started an interior design company, shameless plug, Stone and Sage. And I just have so much fun, like seeing spaces transform. And it's so much more fun when you're not like, it's not so much crunching the numbers, and you have some freedom. So, last year I started turning some of my spaces into Airbnbs, mostly because I wanted to like be able to furnish it and paint it and decorate it. So that was a lot of fun. I also just like really, I love real estate.
Yeah.
And I love like connecting with new people and helping them, figure out their why and how to get started. I still love like analyzing deals. For someone who doesn't need that much money to live, happily. I love money, like I love like the analyzing and, figuring out how much a deal can make. Like that's exciting, the it's like magic, it could just like poof, make massive amounts of wealth in real estate.
Yes. Oh, that's so cool. Definitely Julia is a beautiful interior designer and builder. If you want to go to her Instagram to check out some of her work, it's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I like the interior design and the aesthetics of real estate. I think it feels good once you see the project completed and it's like, okay, this is what this all was worth, even if we're definitely in it for the financial aspects of it, but that the aesthetic beauty that you can get and that feeling of accomplishment feels so good.
Yeah, I really love, and like I have to like be realistic about this too, because I always have a vision and it doesn't always work out. But I love creating communities and spaces, and all of the buildings that I own are multifamily. So I really I've built a gym and a workshop and backyard spaces that everybody can enjoy. Nobody does, but I just have a lot of fun like creating these like common spaces, like hoping to create communities. But
yes,
that's a fun part.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's important because a lot of people, you're thinking, maybe thinking real estate in a black and gray kind of way, but to intentionally want to create community is very powerful. I was just talking to a friend yesterday that, I am a community minded person, which is why I'm in the group like BTS, which is why I enjoy the networking parts of real estate, because we can't go at it alone. It's the saying, if you want to, it takes a village. If you want to go far, go together.
Yes.
So I'm definitely all about that community. And when I was reflecting on my why, and as we're talking about defining yours, I like to pick my goals based on what is for me and then what's for the collective. So of course, both are important. I have goals for me that are having real estate for the later life planning, the retirement, like we talked about. But for the collective, are you doing projects that have a social impact? Or if they are going to be like affordable housing, or, what is your why other than yourself? Everybody doesn't think that way, but, I love that you mentioned that you are creating spaces for your tenants for that. So that even is going to affect the quality of tenants you get.
Yeah.
Could you talk some more about that? Like how you think being intentional in your design and being intentional in how you go about real estate has impacted the people you're meeting?
Yeah, I think there's a few different ways to answer that question. And the first thing that came to mind is like that meme that's like, I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom. I'm not a regular landlord, I'm a cool landlord.
Yes.
And like I really want all of my tenants to stay until they buy a house. And I was at 100% success rate for my first 3. And then I don't know what happened to I think they were students, so they were young, they weren't ready. But I sold my first investment property to one of my tenants, and another one of my tenants bought a property, and I helped her, like transform a space to be Airbnb, and now her property is producing income. And I really want to build those relationships too. And like if I could invest in real estate and build wealth, I really believe that anyone could and everyone should, because it's just such an important part of life these days, with how expensive things are and how much we have to work, and just the mental health crisis. And it's just so important to build wealth, and the easiest way to do that is through owning real estate. So there's that. And another big thing is, like, I targeted my real estate investments in a niche community. So I really focused on Brewery Town and Strawberry Mansion. And, I invest where I live, and I treat these areas like home. And, when I first got started, it was really important for me to like support the local businesses. I'm bringing new people to the neighborhood. Every like Christmas holiday, I would get all of my tenants gift cards to local businesses in the neighborhood to really have them enjoying where they live. So that was something that was really important. But I think simply those are ways.
That's really beautiful and powerful. And just while we're tracking strategies, you niche down in a neighborhood, and then you were intentional about how you did that there. Love it.
At one point, it was funny. I had a rule that I had to be able to walk to my project. I never would. Like, sometimes I would like walk the dog and walk by, make sure the doors were locked, peek in and be like, I'm doing that, and keep on walking. But like, it was like a rule. Like, I know this market so well. Like, no one can tell me anything about like what prices should be. Like, this is my spot. Like, I know these numbers. Like, I know the buildings. There's a funny post on my Instagram way back of like someone trying to like put me in my place about knowing my numbers, and they sent me my own building as a comp, and they were like, this one sold for $350. I was like, I know, I built it.
Ooh.
Like,
talking heavy. Okay.
I also know how much it costs because I built it. So like, if you're telling me that rehab's going to be $70,000, and I told you the building next door that I built and sold was $150, I'm like,
yeah,
I know my market, so like, and I'm confident about my market, but that was like my niche, and that worked for me.
Yes. I remember a few years ago, Julia's always been so open and beautiful resource share. She hosted the cutest like woman in real estate event where we were helping do some last touch painting at one of your properties, and you broke down all the numbers and how you did the deal, and that was just so powerful. So I can totally tell the people, like, she knows.
It's a funny story. So I ran out of money on this project, but I wanted to do a big mural. And I was like, it was always like important to me to like share with people what I'm doing and how I did it. You could do it. Little old me's out here building all this wealth. Why aren't you guys doing it too? So I'm like, I figured it out. I'm going to host a party, and I'm going to give all this information for free, but I'm going to make everyone paint because I need to paint it and I don't have the money for it. So it was like a creative way to like bring a community together. Like, so many of those people, this was, I think, in 2017 or 2018. And I was looking at that photo lately, and I'm like, the women in those photos have like gained massive amounts of wealth and are so successful. And it's really cool to see like showing up in spaces like that, just being around other people. Like, we're like painting and like, so what do you want to do in real estate? And like relationships are being formed. Oh, let's go for coffee. I want to invest in real estate and I don't have any money. Or I want to invest in real estate. I have a lot of money and no time. Or, I want to do this. And you're putting yourselves like in rooms with people with different scenarios to form partnerships. I can tell you, like, every single problem I've ever come across from day one, the solution was from people in my network every time. And, that's the value of networking. Like, I can't imagine not having people to call when things go wrong who have had the experience that I have. There's only so many things that can go wrong in real estate. There's a lot, but there's also like only so many,
Yeah, there's definitely types of problems. Like, someone may not have had your exact problem, but they've had a similar one or know somebody who's had a similar one. So definitely networking, and it's one of those words that feels really like rough and drudgy, but it feels like this because as you mentioned that event you hosted, I wound up getting sales clients from there for after. So example, a woman who was there, she wound up renovating her home. She technically house hacked, but instead of holding it, she flipped. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that was years ago. That sale was only last year. So
this is so beautiful. I had no idea.
But seriously, like it's
amazing.
Yeah, it's all about, you know, being there for people so that, you know, you can get the reciprocity of
and
all that.
Shameless plug, BTS is hosting a networking event this weekend, Saturday, October 8th. We're also doing a speed networking, like speed dating style Halloween party next month on October 29th. It's going to be a giant party and putting yourself in a room with other people in the real estate business from all walks. You know, you're going to need attorneys and accountants and title companies and lenders and inspectors and contractors. There's a lot of people to make the thing happen, and they're all going to be in this room. And that's where you figure all this stuff out and you build your business.
And one thing I love is seeing people outside of their natural habitats. So like you mentioned, like accountants and lawyers, another, oh my God, that's the part that I'm not looking forward to in real estate, but that's still a person behind that service. Mm-hmm. So let's really just, you know, get to know each other and building together.
Yes.
Love it. Yes. I'm seeing if we have any questions coming in.
Can we switch over to the comments tab?
Okay, here we go. What are some good ways to find a good real estate mentor? Well, outside of the AI mentor, which is going to be able to put you into an archetype based on what your journey, where you should be going on your real estate journey, there are executives who do coaching. Wink, wink. Julia does coaching.
All these like shameless plugs. But you can also go to betterthansuccess.com, and there is a tab that says book a one-on-one, and there's a few different executives that do one-on-ones, and you know, they all have different experience. Like for me, I could help a lot with like, you know, the concepts of raising money, the BRRRR strategy, house hacking. Maybe you're not there yet and you just want to figure out, you know, how to like get your ducks in a row and be ready to execute. So I do one-on-ones and can coach you through that stuff. And then some of the other executives do as well, and they have a different skill set. So it's really all depends on what you're looking for. But really, the AI mentor is such a great starting point too. So if you join Better Than Success, use code Mickey, use code Brickhouse, join for $1, and you know, get access to that AI mentor right away. And that's going to give you a 12-month blueprint of coursework. So you don't have to even think about where to start, how to start, what am I looking at, what should I study today? Here it is, and delivered into your mailbox. So
yes,
email.
Your email box for sure. And it's going to order your steps. So I know for me, when I'm passionate about something, I can get obsessive and like what they call analysis paralysis. I'm just taking in so much information. It's hard to think about what's going to actually apply to you. So being able to have a soft start for where you are, and then you could do it at your own pace. Just listen to what the course recommendations are going to be for that week on your way to work or at the gym, or even if it's still at home, you're taking notes, but you're comfortable and you're able to really get into, you know, what's appropriate for you versus just taking in all this stuff. It's dope to see all the cool things people are doing in real estate, but it could also like overwhelm you if you're like, dag, this person's doing a 50-unit building. I'm still in my apartment. How do I do that? It's like, calm down and just start where you are. Or maybe you are ready to do that 50-unit. You don't have to do a bunch of single families to get there. So it's just very...
Yeah, well, I want to mention that because we're here talking about our why and our real estate strategies aligning with our why. And I had a one-on-one recently, and this this potential real estate investor, he has a ton of capital and needs to replace a 6-figure job to be able to quit. So, we came to the conclusion that burring single family homes isn't going to be your fastest way to replacing a 6-figure job when you have a large amount of capital to get in. So how many single family homes does it take to get to 6 figures? So we're reverse engineering whatever those goals are. And I think we actually looked at it, and over 5 years, it was a matter of 25 single family homes. I think it was 25 or 30, somewhere in there, which is doable, right? Like buy a house or two a quarter. But me and you could buy an apartment building if we wanted to, there's different ways to invest in real estate. That's one of them. And you can niche down on apartment buildings. There's syndication. There's, raising private money. You could buy, I could buy a 100-unit apartment building if I wanted to. It's just a matter of learning that strategy and doing step-by-step what it takes. And I didn't know that at first. So the strategy was the strategy for me. But, going forward, now I know I could buy a 100-unit apartment building.
Yes.
It just looks different. So
I love that. And I think, again, I'm very much going to hone in on the mindset because, you just said you can do that. Yes, you can do whatever you want, period.
Yes. There's no rules. We're grown-ups.
Exactly.
There's no one to tell us no. Right? No, but it's funny. I was talking to someone today, and it's very, there's so much mindset that goes into this. And, yesterday the podcast was on mental health, which is also such a big part of entrepreneurship and wealth building. And, someone was like, I don't want to do this thing. I'm like, then don't do it.
Right.
You don't have to. You don't have to do that thing that you don't want to do.
Yes. There's lanes and ways for you to do it whatever you want to do and still getting to that goal. Oh, I love this. Yes. Okay. So someone's asking our opinions on digital real estate. If you could explain a bit more what you mean by that, we'll circle back. I'm assuming you're talking metaverse and crypto, since crypto's in your name. But let's, that's a very, very broad question. Yes, Julia's pointing at me because I am one of those annoying crypto and Web3 is the future people, but I'll digress from that. We'll save that for another podcast episode. Are the construction classes for getting a GC certification?
So you don't get your GC license in the class. We walk you step by step how to do that. You do have to take an OSHA 30. So it's just 30 hours of safety training, which can be done online. It's pretty cheap to do. So we don't include that in our class because we'd be adding 30 hours of coursework, when for a very small fee, you could do that online on your own time. But you will receive guidance step by step on how to become a licensed general contractor and get everything you need to be a project manager and a general contractor.
Yeah, and I will say, especially when we're thinking about professional certifications, as I mentioned, I'm a real estate agent. When you are preparing for those types of certification tests, you're not learning the business. I didn't really learn the business of real estate until I was an agent. So it's going to be the same with a general contracting license. Anybody can technically get a license, but are you going to know how to do the project?
There's a $103 fee and 30-hour online class that has nothing to do with construction. It's just safety training. And then you can be a licensed contractor. That's crazy. Yeah. I'm licensed and insured, but I don't know a thing. Yeah. So this is where you learn the things.
Exactly. Learn the things. And like I mentioned before, I learned what to do first in a project, where to, start to finish, how to complete a project. And for a lot of us, that's really what the air quote fear may be, is how do I even do it? So those questions are all answered in this class. Highly, highly recommend.
She didn't get paid to say that.
No.
She took the class, I swear.
For sure. Okay. Not seeing any catch up on the crypto question, But is there anything else you want to add as far as strategies right now, as far as whys and just anything in general you think will be valuable for people?
I would say one conversation that I tend to have often is it kind of goes in hand with like imposter syndrome. Like people will right off the bat exclude themselves from doing something because of this. I can't because I have I have two kids that I take care of full time. I have a full-time job. I don't have any money. I like this whole fear-based mindset, the scarcity mindset. Like I think it's important to be open-minded in what you can do and, use all of these facts that you have about yourself to figure out how you could leverage that into your, real estate investing. And, for most people, we talked about house hacking and Burr because those are just two ways that are so accessible to so many people. And most people who invest in real estate or who are on these calls or who are booking one-on-ones, they want to quit their job. Like they want to quit their job yesterday. And I always say that if you have a full-time job and good credit, get the house first. Do a house hack, do a Burr, like do something that's going to require minimal cash, because as soon as you leave that job, you're going to be cornered into commercial or asset-based lending. So, I bought my first house. I was at my full-time job for a few months and they gave me a mortgage. Like you don't have to like be somewhere for a long period of time. So incorporate that into your goal. So maybe you don't have good credit. It doesn't take long to reshape your credit either. Work with a credit repair person. Whatever your goals are, figure out how instead of like why not. So, maybe you don't have a job or good credit. So maybe this year I'm going to get a job and work on my credit. So by next September, I'm going to buy my first house hack with only a little bit of money down, So
Yes, I love that. And I think what I really want to emphasize there is being consistent with your goals, because it's easy to, well, it's not easy to know what you want to do. But once you do, let's say you do know what you want to do. And like you mentioned before, reverse engineering your goal, hold yourself accountable. Or if you are community minded, then join a group like BTS that can help hold you accountable. Or even if it's just, a friend you trust, a family member, even if it's your journal, and making sure you're just getting to your goals like, oh, my credit isn't good this year or this month. Well, how's it going to be in 3 months or 6 months? I had a credit expert tell me before, anybody can transform any credit profile in 12 months. So if you set it for your birthday, by your next birthday, you can have a new credit profile.
And people don't understand how fast time goes by. So like, I didn't have to convince myself that 5 years wasn't a long time, because I did the math and I was like, I can retire in 5 years. I'll be 30,
Yeah.
So like if you're 40 and you give yourself 5 years to figure out this real estate investing thing, and you could retire at 45, or maybe you have a lot more debt or want to make a lot more money, then maybe it's 7 years or 10 years. But you mentioned reverse engineering. And one thing that I always have like my very, very new clients start out as, make a short-term goal list and a long-term goal list. And your long-term goal lists are things like retire by blank, have X amount of passive income. Those are like the big picture goals that you don't know how you're going to get there. Those are just the big goals. You reverse engineer those to create your short-term goals list. Those are things that you do today. Join BTS and take the AI assessment. That's my short-term goal. Call a credit repair person. Get a pre-approval from a lender. These are all like basic things. Read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Start like listening to podcasts. Maybe you're not ready to jump in, but this is exciting and it makes you curious about real estate investing and financial freedom. So you want to like dig a little bit deeper on what that looks like. Podcasts, books, whatever that list looks like, create a short-term goal list and a long-term goal list. It's just so important.
Yes, so important. Even with achieving some of my real estate goals, it's like more.
No,
And
yes. It's an addiction.
yes, and I can take that advice today. So it's like I'm just so grateful for this interview. It looks like our crypto gentleman, he's asking digital as in the metaverse, real estate and land. In the same way, crypto, I nerd out sometimes when I hear the word crypto. Okay, so this is still complex, but what I will say, if you're thinking about doing transactions on blockchain, there is a way to do that. So if you have crypto and you want to purchase physical real estate, there are people who are doing that. A company I would recommend looking up is called Proppy, and they have the entire transaction process. I'm actually in um, the throes of becoming a Proppy certified agent, so I can help people through that process. But yes, I love Julia. But as far as the metaverse, buying into metaverses, it is its own thing. I'm not really too well versed on that, I'll be honest. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not one of those people who's just gonna talk about something they don't know about. But if you want to DM me, we can totally collab and work through some things. I'm all about that for sure. This was a beautiful interview. Thank you so much, Julia.
My pleasure. This is so fun.
Where can people stay in touch with you? All the things.
Yeah, so my favorite place is Instagram at Brickhouse Builders. I share out my journey all the time, day by day, what I'm dealing with. I help you guys figure out how not to deal with some of the things that I come across. But I have a lot of fun on social media, so follow me on Brickhouse Builders and send me a DM if you have any questions or just want to connect. Other than that, construction management course, betterthansuccess.com/CM to get more information on that. And that's...
Yeah, but you also do your webinar.
Oh,
that's
I do.
Really good.
I do for free. I do financial freedom webinars once a month. So if you're, still pretty early on and this is all a different language to you, I kind of break down the basics of real estate investing and wealth building and how to achieve financial freedom. So I do this once a month. The next one is October 25th at 3 p.m. So I do them at different days, different times every month to accommodate different pools of people. You can sign up on Eventbrite. The link is in my link tree on my bio on Instagram, which is at Brickhouse Builders. You can find all my stuff in my link tree. So that's my kind of one-stop shop.
Nice. As I mentioned, I am Mickey Mansions on Instagram. I have a link tree there as well. I'm also on TikTok. Woo-hoo. If you want to get my link tree as well. I'm excited. I am also starting a webinar for house hacking. It's called Live, Lease, Leverage. And I talk about some of the things we've talked here as far as defining your why and how you can get started if you have a W-2 and want to leverage that to house hack. So that is going to be on October 11th at 7 p.m. And if you want to stay in touch that way, of course, on Instagram, or if you want to search on Eventbrite, Live, Lease, Leverage. Thank you again so much, Julia. And thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Proppy. The company name is called Proppy. That is PRPY. PROPY.
Cool. Did anyone have any other questions before we hop off?
Yep, we could definitely do some more questions before we hop off.
Yes. Cool. And don't forget to sign up for Better Than Success for $1. So this is going away soon and it's never going to happen again. So the value is insane. You can join for 1 month for $1. And then like Mickey said, it goes into a trial for $197 a month. But for a whole month, you can figure out what all this stuff is. You can join our live events. We have at least 5 virtual events every single week. You can get access to the AI mentor. Use code Mickey to join for just $1. And it doesn't look like we have any other questions.
Yeah, I do want to shout out Janaire. She mentioned earlier that she was at that same networking event.
Yes.
Oh, hey girl.
Yes. Yeah, they just bought a triplex recently.
Woo!
Yep.
Congrats. Yes.
I was there for that process. And
Yes.
it's just so rewarding watching people win.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Being of service, that is a brilliant way to learn.
Yes. So thanks everybody, and thanks Mickey for having me.
Absolutely.
This
See
is
you
so
guys
fun.
later.
Love y'all.